England, 1150 AD. In the quiet village of Woolpit, one ordinary summer day was about to become history's greatest mystery. When the strangers entered the village, everyone noticed something unusual about their appearance.
Strange cries echoed from an old wolf pit. Curious villagers gathered, unsure of what they were about to discover.
News spread quickly through Woolpit. Before long, the entire village wanted to witness the strange arrival. They spoke a language nobody recognized. Every word
only made the mystery even deeper.
The mysterious pair were taken to Sir Richard de Calne, a respected landowner known throughout the village.
The mystery wasn't over. In many ways, it was only just beginning. For the first time since arriving in Woolpit, they finally accepted food. Then something caught their attention. A basket filled with fresh green beans. They appeared hungry, yet ignored every meal placed before them. No one could understand why. Neither writer claimed to witness the event themselves, but both recorded testimony from people connected to the mystery. Historians searched old maps, but no place called St. Martin's Land could be found. But one detail refused to fit this explanation. Near Woolpit were ancient underground passages that had existed for thousands of years. One location became a focus of debate: the ancient flint mines known as Grimes Graves. And those original records reveal an even more remarkable story. The girl eventually spoke, and her story surprised everyone. Every clue brought them closer, but the final answer remained hidden. The records left behind became the foundation of the mystery we know today. Two medieval writers recorded the event, preserving the mystery for future generations. Their accounts gave historians a rare window into a forgotten medieval world. Among those records was a detail that changed the entire story.
The accounts did not describe a legend. They described people. Two unusual visitors suddenly became part of everyday medieval life. But where they came from remains the greatest question of all. Not long afterward, the young boy passed away, leaving his sister to face this strange world alone. The days passed quietly, but soon, one heartbreaking event would change the mystery forever. Day by day, she learned English, and with every new word, another piece of the mystery emerged. This is the path we must take. Now alone, she slowly began adapting to life in medieval England. According to her, daylight never fully arrived. Her homeland remained in an endless twilight. She said her home was called St. Martin's Land, a place no one in England had ever heard of. She spoke of a place unlike anywhere they had ever known, a land called St. Martin's.
When she finally understood their questions, she revealed where she believed she came from.
She also claimed that everyone in her homeland followed the Christian faith. Beyond a wide river, she remembered seeing a brighter land, but they could never reach it. They walked through the forest and somehow found themselves in a world they didn't recognize. She said they had been following their family's animals before everything became strangely unfamiliar.
She remembered hearing church bells just before everything around them suddenly changed.
One of the first accounts came from Ralph of Coggeshall, a monk who carefully recorded events of his time. Centuries later, the story survived through the writings of two medieval chroniclers who recorded the strange event.
But was this a misunderstood memory? Or evidence of something history still cannot explain?
Because two separate writers recorded the story, many historians still debate what truly happened in Woolpit. His writings preserved many unusual stories from medieval England, including the mystery of the Green Children. The story was not hidden in a modern legend. It was preserved inside medieval records. His account described the arrival of two unusual travelers and the mystery surrounding their origin. Another chronicler, William of Newburgh, also recorded the strange event in his historical writings.
But even with these records, one question remains. Who were the Green Children really? Before believing the story, we need to ask one important question. Can these medieval records be trusted? Every page was copied by hand, making accuracy incredibly important.
Medieval chroniclers weren't writing fairy tales. They believed they were preserving history. The people of Woolpit believed the mysterious visitors were real, and their story spread across the countryside. From one conversation to another, the mystery became impossible to ignore. One theory suggests the answer wasn't hidden in history, but beneath the ground.
Not in England, not in France, and not anywhere recorded in medieval Europe.
Now historians faced an even bigger question. Where was St. Martin's land?
Could the mysterious pair have wandered through passages they couldn't find their way back from?
If that theory is true, it still leaves one mystery completely unexplained.
So if the place never existed, why did both accounts describe it with such confidence? Some researchers believe the answer may have been hidden somewhere in the landscape itself. If they were simply lost, why couldn't anyone understand the language they spoke?
Nearby were ancient underground passages. They had existed long before the mystery began.
Medieval England was home to many different communities, yet no one recognized their speech. Some historians believe the mysterious pair may have come from a nearby Flemish community. Some historians say extreme hunger may explain why they chose only the green beans. At the time, Flemish settlers lived in parts of eastern England, making this theory worth considering. Supporters of this theory believe the pair may have been separated during a time of conflict. They believe the mysterious pair wandered for days until they finally arrived at Woolpit. Another theory suggested something even stranger, that the answer was hidden beneath the earth. If they came from nearby, why did no one recognize where they belonged? The underground theory explained the location, but it could not explain everything. These ancient mines created a hidden world beneath the same land where the mystery appeared. Could two lost travelers have entered these tunnels and found themselves unable to return? One possibility was severe malnutrition, a condition that can sometimes affect skin color. Was this simply a forgotten historical event, or something far stranger? The biggest mystery remained. Why did the visitors seem so completely different from everyone around them? Every theory solved one part of the puzzle, but created another question. Medical theories explained the skin color, but not the language they spoke. Some researchers looked beyond history and turned to medieval medicine. They proposed that the unusual skin color might have had a natural explanation. If they came from a nearby village, someone should have recognized their home. Some historians point to one detail. The travelers eagerly ate fresh green beans. But even that explanation leaves important questions unanswered. With every explanation, one mystery remained: the strange appearance of the two visitors. The most famous detail of the story was also the most unusual: their green skin. Trade routes connected villages across England, making complete isolation difficult to explain. Merchants arrived from distant lands, bringing unfamiliar languages and customs to England. Some historians searched for a natural explanation behind the unusual appearance described in the records. And yet, no known language matched the one described in the medieval records. The medieval accounts described a place unlike any known village of the time. The girl remembered a quiet land, where daylight never seemed completely bright. As historians continued studying the old records, another detail began to stand out. These theories offered possible answers, but the mystery of Woolpit remained. She said the land was always filled with a soft, gentle light. Never full daylight.
Beyond a great river, she remembered seeing another land shining in the distance. But according to her story, no one from her homeland could ever cross that river. To this day, no place matching that description has ever been identified.
Historians have searched old maps for centuries, but St. Martin's Land has never appeared.
That mystery has inspired generations of historians and countless theories. Some believed the answer could be found in history itself. One theory points to a community of Flemish settlers living nearby. These settlers came from across the sea. They brought their own customs and language. Over time, communities spread across the countryside.
Supporters of the theory believe the mystery may have started in one of these settlements.
Many arrived through England's growing trade networks. But several important questions still remain unanswered.
Lost among unfamiliar paths, they could have struggled to find their way home. At first glance, the explanation seems reasonable.
They suggest the travelers may have wandered far from familiar surroundings.
Medieval writers described their clothing as unfamiliar to the people of Woolpit.
Some believe the garments came from another region, while others remain unconvinced. If the theory is correct, why did the mystery remain unsolved for so long? Another detail continued to puzzle historians: the children's unusual clothing. Then historians returned to the girls' own words, searching for details they may have missed. Her description of St. Martin's Land remains one of the greatest puzzles in medieval history. She described a peaceful land where daylight always seemed soft and gentle. Every clue explained part of the mystery, but never the whole story. And beyond, a great river. She remembered another land shining in the distance. According to her story, no one from their land ever crossed that river. Those few sentences have inspired centuries of debate among historians. Some believe her words described a real place, now lost to history. The second clue was the language no one recognized. Some looked to the natural world for answers, while others searched beyond it. The mystery slowly grew beyond history, becoming part of folklore. But before accepting extraordinary ideas, we need to examine the facts one more time. Let's return to the evidence and examine every clue left behind. The first clue was their unusual appearance. And the third clue was a place that no map has ever shown.
And our investigation is only just beginning. No single explanation fits every detail recorded in the original accounts.
So let's return to the place where this remarkable story first began. Every ordinary detail made the extraordinary discovery even harder to explain.
Imagine hearing an unfamiliar voice while working in these peaceful fields. That is why the Green Children of Woolpit continue to fascinate people today.
Nearly 9 centuries later, the questions remain exactly the same. The written accounts have survived, but the answers have not.
That ordinary day would become one of the strangest moments ever recorded in medieval England.
Eventually, the tale reached readers far beyond the borders of England.
And each generation asked the same question: what really happened at Woolpit?
Every generation has read these words and reached different conclusions. Perhaps the greatest mystery is why the story refuses to be forgotten.
The earliest written accounts remain our most valuable evidence.
Some mysteries disappear with time. This one only became more famous.
Copies of the story continued to spread across medieval Europe. She remembered growing up in a peaceful land unlike any known kingdom.
They preserved details that later retellings sometimes changed.
To answer that question, we must separate historical facts from later legends.
Was St. Martin's Land a real place, or something created from memory and legend? She claimed the land was always covered by a gentle twilight. Across a great river, another bright land could always be seen. But according to her account, that distant land could never be reached. Nearly 900 years later, Woolpit still carries the memory of the strange visitors.
Historians began comparing her description with the world they knew. They searched for clues hidden in geography, language, and history.
Some mysteries are solved by evidence, while others remain questions for the ages. From a small English village came a story that would travel across centuries. The records left behind became the foundation of the mystery we know today. To understand the mystery, we must look at the world they entered. Life in medieval England was simple, but far from easy.
Most peoples working the land around them.
For villagers of Woolpit, the arrival of strangers was an extraordinary event. And then came the moment that turned an ordinary day into history. News of the strange visitors quickly spread throughout the village.
Everyone wanted to know where these mysterious children had come from.
The children were brought before a local landowner named Sir Richard de Calnay. There, the children entered a world completely different from their own.
But their first days inside the manor brought another mystery.
They seemed unfamiliar with much of the food placed before them. Then they noticed something familiar. Green beans.
The beans became the first food they willingly accepted.
That small detail would later become one of the story's most important clues.
But the children's story was far from over.
After the discovery, the two young visitors slowly began adapting to their new surroundings.
They gradually became familiar with the sights, sounds, and customs of medieval England. Over time, they began communicating with the people around them.
And eventually, one of them began describing a place called St. Martin's Land.
Her description would become the strangest part of the entire story. She spoke of a homeland called St. Martin's Land.
According to her account, the people there followed the Christian faith.
But she said their world was never completely bright. Across the river, she could see another bright country. Yet somehow, that distant land could never be reached. That river became a boundary between two worlds. But what did she actually mean by another world?
Historians searched the medieval landscape for a possible answer.
They compared rivers, villages, saints' names, and forgotten settlements.
But no location perfectly matched her description.
One possibility was that St. Martin's Land had simply been misunderstood.
Perhaps the name referred to a place that no longer exists.
Names disappear, rivers change, settlements vanish. An entire community could disappear from the map. And that possibility makes the mystery even harder to solve. But another clue would lead researchers in a very different direction. Nearby stood ancient underground workings carved into the earth. These ancient sites are known today as Grimes Graves. The mines were created centuries before the Green Children appeared. So could these ancient underground places explain the mystery? Some researchers have wondered if underground passages played a role. Perhaps the children had wandered into unfamiliar underground spaces. But there is a problem with that explanation. Nothing proves that these ancient workings were connected to the children's story.
So the underground theory remains possible, but unproven. And another theory begins with the children's strange appearance. Some historians have suggested that illness may explain their unusual skin color. One possibility was a condition linked to poor nutrition. Poor nutrition could affect the appearance of the skin. But this theory does not explain everything they reportedly said. The language barrier was still difficult to explain. If they came from nearby, why was their language so unfamiliar?
Medieval England was already connected to people from other lands.
Travel and trade brought foreign languages into English communities.
Yet the children's words remain difficult to place.
Perhaps they had simply come from somewhere far away.
But there was no clear record of where that journey began. Researchers searched the surviving records for another clue.
But the records offered no definite answer.
And so the mystery returned to where it began. Woolpit. Woolpit was ordinary, until two strangers appeared.
The landscape itself gives us very few answers. But the story left behind one more remarkable detail.
One of the children eventually became part of the community.
Her later life became far more ordinary than her mysterious arrival.
She was baptized and given the name Agnes. Over time, her appearance reportedly became normal. Agnes eventually grew up in the world she had once entered as a stranger. She even married, according to later historical accounts. Her life raises another question. What became of her story afterward? According to the medieval accounts, Agnes eventually married a local man. Her life had become almost completely ordinary.
It is a good life here.
But the records about Agnes become increasingly scarce. Her extraordinary beginning slowly faded into ordinary history. Yet her arrival at Woolpit remained unlike anything else in the record. Two children had appeared in this village with a story no one could fully explain. They described a homeland unlike the world around them. A land where the sunlight seemed different and the people spoke differently.
Centuries later, historians would still debate what those words meant. And that is where the mystery becomes even more fascinating. Because the strangest part of the story was not how the children arrived. It was what the children claimed about the world they came from.
They described a land where the sun seemed different from the world they knew. And they spoke of another land lying beyond a great river.
To medieval listeners, that description must have sounded almost impossible.
But there was one detail that made the story even stranger.
The children said their homeland existed in a place of perpetual twilight. There was no darkness there, but there was no bright sunlight either. They called this strange place the land of Saint Martin. But no map from that time has ever clearly identified such a place.
That leaves historians with a difficult question.
Was the land of Saint Martin a real place?
Or was it simply the children's way of describing a world they barely understood? After all, medieval people understood the world very differently from us. Perhaps the answer was hidden in a simple misunderstanding. Stories were passed from person to person before they were ever written down. With every retelling, small details could change.
That may explain why the earliest accounts are not completely identical.
Yet the central details remain remarkably consistent.
Two unusual children appeared near Woolpit. They spoke strangely, looked different, and seemed unfamiliar with their surroundings. At first, even ordinary food was unfamiliar to them. Only green beans seemed familiar. Then came the story of their mysterious homeland. They described a world beyond a great river. A place where the daylight never seemed quite normal. But no known map clearly matches the description.
And that is where history begins to blur into legend.
Perhaps there was a real event behind the story.
Perhaps the details were changed by generations of storytellers.
Or perhaps the people of Woolpit witnessed something they could not explain. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why the story survived. Because mysteries survive when certainty never arrives. Every theory explains one part of the mystery.
But none explains every detail.
And that leaves the central question unanswered. Who were the Green Children? Where did they really come from? Was their strange homeland real? Or was their story a medieval misunderstanding? Perhaps we will never know for certain. But the mystery has lasted for centuries. And that alone makes the story remarkable. A small village became the setting for one of England's strangest legends. And the Green Children became part of that legend. Perhaps that is why the story still captures our imagination. Because somewhere between fact and folklore, the truth may still be waiting to be discovered. Every surviving account gives us another piece of the puzzle. But some pieces may have been lost forever. Maybe the answer lies beneath the landscape itself. Ancient places may still hold clues to forgotten stories. But archaeology has never produced a final answer. So the Green Children remain exactly what their name suggests. A mystery still wrapped in green. Two strangers appeared. They told a story unlike anything the villagers had heard before. And centuries later, we are still asking the same questions. Maybe they were visitors from another place. Or maybe they were simply children, lost in a world they did not understand. But one question still remains. What really happened at Woolpit?
Was it a strange encounter, a misunderstood event, or something we can no longer explain?
No surviving evidence gives us a definite answer. All we have are the accounts, the questions, and the centuries of speculation. Yet the story refuses to disappear.
Perhaps because every generation wants to believe, there are still mysteries left to uncover.
And the Green Children remain one of those mysteries. Two children appeared in medieval England. They spoke of a world unlike our own. And then, as mysteriously as they arrived, their story became history. Maybe the truth is waiting somewhere, between the records and the forgotten past. Until then, the Green Children of Woolpit remain a mystery. And perhaps that unanswered mystery is exactly why we still remember them. The Green Children of Woolpit. Their story remains.
History has secrets. We are still uncovering them.
Centuries have passed since those strange events were first recorded.
Yet the story continues to raise questions even today. Could the children have come from somewhere nearby? Could a journey across a river have created the mystery? Or did they truly believe they had entered another world? Historians' explanations. But every explanation leaves something unexplained. And perhaps that is what makes the mystery so powerful. Because some mysteries are remembered precisely because they cannot be solved. The Green Children of Woolpit remain a mystery lost between history and legend. And perhaps the truth will remain hidden for another 1,000 years. Some stories end with answers. Others leave us with questions. And sometimes the questions are the most fascinating part. History has secrets. We are here to uncover them. Until the next mystery. But the story of the Green Children does not truly end here. For somewhere in the records, their strange journey was remembered. From one generation to another, the mystery continued to survive. One account became another, and the mystery grew. All that remains is the strange account they left behind. And their voices have been silent for centuries. Yet the original witnesses are long gone. Until fact and folklore became almost impossible to separate. Perhaps that is why the story still feels strangely alive. A detail we may simply have forgotten how to recognize. But somewhere beneath the legend, there may be a forgotten truth.
And left behind a mystery that refuses to disappear.
Two children walked into history.
Until then, the mystery belongs to history.
Maybe someday, another discovery will change the story completely.
Some mysteries are solved. Others become legends. And the Green Children remain one of history's most enduring mysteries. Not knowing may be the reason we never stop searching. Perhaps that is the real mystery of the Green Children. Until the next hidden chapter. History has secrets. We are here to uncover them. Subscribe to Hidden Chronicles Facts for more forgotten history, unsolved mysteries, and mind-blowing facts. Hidden Chronicles.